Hello and welcome to today's podcast. Matt and Liz here with you, and we have got a fun one today because Matt is SEO dead.
No, it's not, Liz. We're going to come out and show you why. Because this is very topical at the moment, particularly with AI and the latest Google updates, and in particular in our community, because we buy and sell online businesses. So SEO does impact us. We've been SEOing websites since 2008. It is one of the key ways that we renovate websites when we buy them and fix them up. And so when we're buying websites, we're looking for opportunities to fix up websites. A big part of that is SEO. Now, we do a lot of other things as well, but it is a very important topic with what we do. And it's something obviously very close to our hearts. We're very passionate about it. And there's a lot of talk out there about SEO. Is SEO dead?
And what's really amusing to us anyway is because we've been here for so long, this happens every time there's a major update. There's this huge uproar of people going, oh my God, SEO is dead, content is dead. We're all like, we hate Google. And I think we're kind of amused by it now because we've ridden through it so many times. And so what we want to do today is just give you some insights into, what's our experience of this happening over and over again throughout our career.
At least once a year, Liz, for the last decade or so.
The big ones aren't.
Remember Penguin?
This is, I know, but this is one of those big ones where everybody does tend to get into panic mode. So we do want to address, okay, what does this all mean? And okay, is SEO dead? And that's a good question. Now, I do understand, though, we totally understand why people are asking this, because it is so easy when you've got a lot of authorities out there who are panic mongering. It's kind of like in the share market too. When the share market tanks and things, or things are happening in shares or property or anything, and there's always negative Nellies who love to get out there and say, "Oh my God," and the sky is falling, the chicken littles.
And as we know that the squeaky wheel gets heard, particularly in these days, understand what's happening to you. You're being brainwashed by this because of social media. It's getting amplified, the negativity. And we acknowledge fully that there's our sites being smashed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. But what you're not seeing is the positive stories. Now, we do, because we look at thousands of websites. We know all the brokers. We're chatting to them. We're seeing all the deals that are still out there, all the amazing websites that are still being sold day in, day out. You can go and discover them yourself as well. Go and look at the broker sites. They're still selling websites last time I checked, which was literally just 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
Right
How
this
many
minute.
on Flipper?
On Flipper right now, there are, if you type in websites netting $10,000 a month, which for most people listening to this when you're starting out would probably replace your income. There's over 355 for sale right this minute. Now, they're there. Now, that's just one broker. You can go to FE International, Quiet Light, Empire, Flippers. We've got an article on our blog here or on our podcast about the top 24 places to buy websites. Entrepreneurial lesson for you. Like Liz says, stop listening to the naysayers, the doom scrolling, and we all buy into it. But go and verify for yourself that these websites are still making really good money. They're there. And of course, there's the opportunistic buyers. For those of you who are more advanced, the sites that have been hit in these Google updates and that are impacted by these SEO changes, if you know what you're doing, now is probably one of the best times to be buying websites. And that is one of the things we're advising, chatting, not giving financial advice, but chatting to our clients about saying, look, you can build websites, you can buy websites, but this is the year where we've got a golden opportunity here, because Liz and I have always made lots of money after SEO updates. It's a great time to get out there when you know what you're doing. Yes. Now, one thing I will just jump into, this is why we want to run this special little podcast here today, is that we understand when you're a beginner, it is scary, okay? And beginners, unfortunately, and we're acknowledging this, are probably the most impacted by this. There are obviously experienced people impacted as well. In our portfolio, we've got a range of sites. We'll talk about some of the results. Some of them have gone up. There are some that have been impacted, but it's interesting. But they're starting to bounce back now, which is really cool. But across all that, we have a big data set of people that we talk to that are professional online investors. They buy and sell websites. They have big websites, small websites, also within our own community, looking across them. The results are fascinating. It is so varied. We have client sites that have been impacted. We've had sites that have been impacted pretty full on, but then we've got client sites that have gone up in traffic and all in between. It's just business as usual. And as an entrepreneur, when you're getting into this is some of the challenges in business. And this is one of those times. And like Liz said, we've been, it's par for the course. We've been experiencing
Seen
this
this
since
over and
2008.
over again. And I think that's something that we forget. And especially, again, acknowledging our beginners. You
Yeah.
probably come into this marketplace and probably not realizing that it feels like this marketplace has a lot going on, has a lot changing. But really, across, when you step back and actually think about it, across all industries, across everyone, there
Absolutely.
is massive change. Think about your job 15 years ago. Was it exactly the same as it is now? For most people, that question is no. Like an accountant, accountancy is very different now than it was 15 years ago. Even teaching,
A lawyer. How are you lawyers going compared to 15 years ago? And anyone in health.
Yep.
Look at all the burnout that we're
we've-
seeing in corporate now.
Yeah. So the point being, change is happening across
Yep.
all industries. So kind of take a breath and think, well, okay, this is just another industry where there's always change. One of the things, though, which is really interesting, because a lot of the time when people come to us and are saying, oh my God, is SEO dead? Are content sites dead? I think one of the things they're thinking about is that Google has changed the rules, that Google, it's all Google's fault and Google's changed the rules and Google is not fair. One thing that we do want to point out, which we're kind of amused by, right from the beginning, way back in, when was it? In like 2012.
Yeah, 2010, 2012.
2010, 2012.
When
Matt Cutts, we were fairly a couple of years in at that point.
Yep.
We remember Matt Cutts was doing videos at that point talking about the Google updates.
We should mention who Matt Cutts
and
is.
Matt Cutts was
Matt Cutts was the head honcho from Google. So he was the
Google
main
search.
Google representative who publicly would talk about how Google SEO works. And there's a secret formula behind it, but he was the main kind of public face, and everyone used to, go to Matt Cutts to find out what does Google really want, particularly for content sites. And so there's always been lots of theories out there about how SEO works, because Google understandably needs to keep it secret from their competitors.
Actually exactly how the algorithm works.
Yeah, so
don't tell us exactly.
So for us, when we were learning SEO, one of the key ways that we tried to figure out how the hell to rank these sites was by listening to Google themselves, and in particular Matt Cutts. And what we'd do is we'd watch him speak at conferences.
Yes, and so here's the things that Matt Cutts said all those many years ago, and they might sound a bit familiar.
They might sound like the latest little update.
Yes, basically, he was saying right back then, what Google wants is to give their users a great experience. So when they come to Google, Google wants to make sure that it's not like, I don't know how many of you, a lot of you probably never experienced Alta Vista, or what was the bodgy ones back then? You could go to a search engine, you could look up curtains and get porn. Like it was ridiculous. And so Google was just phenomenal back then to be able to be a searcher and put in a search and actually get what you were looking for was so amazing. And that's what built Google, is them saying, okay, we're going to make sure that when people search on our search engine, we're going to deliver the absolute best results that we can possibly find that are online. So I think what we have to remember is that that's where Google's coming from. So it's not about gaming the system and trying to trick Google into ranking your site and all that sort of stuff. It's actually about delivering exactly what Google's asking for, helping people. They just want to help people and give them a great experience. So one of the ways to do that is to have fresh, up-to-date content. Have a blog, have content that is being posted regularly, updates, making sure that content is up to date, is fresh.
That doesn't mean daily or anything like that.
No,
Maybe
no.
just once a month, but fresh quality content. So Google was telling us this in 2010.
Yes. It's easy to find on your website. It's easy to find the content. It's easy to navigate to the answers that you're looking for. It's easy on the page to find the answer that you were looking for in the search query. So best content right up front, up at the top of your article. A great user experience in terms of information that's not just regurgitating stuff, not just describing stuff, but actually giving people context, giving people interesting facts or interesting other elements of this particular topic, or certainly interesting experiences, like human experiences of a topic. So if we're talking about travel, I don't just want to know what are the 5 hotels that are available in this city. I want to know, okay, well, what was your experience of those hotels? Are they clean? Are they dirty? Are they, did they have something really special about them? What was someone else's experience? You'll give an example before, Matt, like, as let's say caravanning. If you're going to go to a caravan park,
travel blogger.
Okay, can I get in there? If I've got a how many foot caravan? I don't know how big caravans are.
A double axle.
If I've got a double axle massive caravan, will it fit down the driveway of this caravan park or round the corner or in a particular spot?
So that can't be faked by AI or even outsourced riders in third world countries. And seriously, this was back in 2010. Matt Cutts is telling all this sort of stuff back then. And what's happened is you come forward to now, Google can actually track this. What was some of the other things that he said?
Yeah, the whole point is that Google's always trying to get better and better at enforcing these kind of criteria. It's just trying to make it a better experience for its users. So some giving unique and different perspectives, maybe interesting research, like the outcomes of surveys, the outcomes of interesting polls throughout a community of a particular topic, or a new perspective, something that makes people want to come back to that site over and over again. So, Google is developing systems to be able to measure, do people like this content? Do they dwell there? Do they stop there and read everything? Are they engaged in it? Yeah. Are they scrolling through the content? Do they come back to that website over and over again? Do they not bounce? So do they search for something in Google, click through on that result, and then stay there, not immediately bounce back out, because obviously it's not great. So all these little signals are designed to help Google figure out, was that a good result? Was that a good experience for that person?
And like Liz, we've been teaching over the years, when you stop and think about it, it's pretty common sense stuff.
Yeah, it is.
It tells you the engagement and the quality of a website. It's one of the ways we do due diligences on websites too.
Exactly. The other thing they're looking for is, okay, are other people participating in that content? So is there conversations? Is
there a community
comments? With it? Is there some sort of community around this? Are there links back? Links from other sites that are being actually clicked? Not just random links everywhere and built all over the place, but actually links that are on relevant sites that are also got good authority and good trust value, that are saying, hey, if you want to learn about parking your caravan at this particular site, check out Bob. He knows it all. So, and if people come through on that link, that's even more of a signal to Google. Okay, this content looks like people like this content and are getting something out of it. Things like lists, helpful resources, videos, because again, real. So even way back then, this is the sort of stuff that Matt Cutts was telling us all to do in order to put ourselves in a good position in front of Google. And it's really interesting. We've seen in our career through buying websites, we know when we're pushing it, because we have we have websites where we push the edge and do some things that are maybe not quite kosher.
Too leveraged.
Little bit leveraged,
too automated,
maybe too leveraged. And those are the sites that get hit in updates, whereas the sites where we stay true and help people and are real, those sites always benefit from updates. We've got a site right just in the moment we just checked on the other day, and it's almost tripled in traffic since the update.
Since the HCU, the help content update.
So what was your stat? Google want to have...
So here's a scary stat for beginners, but exciting stat for intermediates and advanced. Google has publicly said that with these latest round of updates, what their goal is to eliminate unhelpful content on the internet by up to 45%. Now, the panickers will focus on oh my goodness, Google's going to eliminate 45% of content out there. Flip it around.
Flip it.
You want to be in the top 45%.
Yeah.
That's where we make the money. That's the bit. So
the competition.
So what we
how much competition that cuts out if you're doing things the right way.
And it's something we've talked about a lot, especially since COVID. We keep saying to people, particularly, and we understand as a beginner, you've got to start somewhere, right? So doing any content is fine because you outsource it. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to sit and write these articles yourself. And Google doesn't expect that either, by the way. But what you do need to do is make sure that it's high quality and the opposite of generic. So we come up with this term in our community called stop creating generic websites, which is just bland, boring websites, the same as everyone else. Why would I go to this website to read about, traveling around Australia or learning how to play better golf or guitar or whatever the topic is? Why would I go here versus the 50 other sites that are in that niche? And what we've seen since COVID, because people have realized they can make so much money online, what happens is they post one article, they get a great result. So what do? They post 100 of them and they go bigger. And definitely to this day, content, you still need lots of content on sites. It's still a key renovation technique. Google outright says they want fresh content. So content is still incredibly important. But of course, what's come into the mix these days is AI content as well, which is clouded the waters. And so one big important thing, if you're listening to this and you're in our community, is we need to learn how to create the opposite of these generic, bland websites that are still out there. Now, luckily, Google, what all the stuff Liz just said is literally what they've told us how. And it does mean, one of the things I find, Liz, on coaching calls I'm doing a lot more now, is saying to people within their portfolios of websites, all things being equal, now we never used to teach this as much, but I've got to admit, it would be good, all things being equal, if you had in your portfolio site a site that you're actually really passionate about, because you're going to put love and attention into it. And I'm going to jump in here. My favorite quote from Matt Cutts. I heard him somewhere, like at a conference, say this. He outright said at a thing, he was sitting, with a microphone, being asked all questions of how Google works. And he said words to the effect of, guys, we're not stupid. At Google, we know if you own 100 websites, which we did at the time, that's why it made my ears prick up. He goes, you're not putting love and attention into each of those 100 websites. We would rather see you focused on a few key websites where we know you're putting love and attention into, because that means you're creating a high quality website. And I think to this day, Liz and I have taken that ethos on board with our main sites that have made us the most money. They are always the ones that we put most love and attention into. And you can see it in the Google Analytics. So like Liz said, we just had a look just before we started recording. We went through our portfolio, and it's really interesting. There's some sites that we both kind of laughed and went, oh, wow, that's not a surprise. I got to admit, I did not expect the traffic to have tripled in the last few months. That was a very pleasant. So I was wondering why we're making so much money. I keep getting these emails, oh, you've got more money in your bank account. And but then there's other sites that have gone down, and we're kind of laughing at going, we've kind of ignored those sites. They're not ones that we really are as passionate about. So I think that's a big lesson there. And find this idea of not creating generic sites. It's one of the big things we've seen, particularly since COVID. I'm going to repeat it again. You need to find a unique angle and branding. What makes you stand out there? Now, you don't immediately get this, by the way. Even when you're doing due diligence on a website and you're planning it out and you do your keyword research, it's not something you can always figure out in like the next few hours. Sometimes it takes a good few months of owning a website to feel your feet for it. And that's normally by looking at your Google Analytics and seeing where are people visiting, what's the most time on page. It's a key thing, easy thing to check out, particularly if you're a beginner. Just look at that time on page. That shows engagement, and also clicks. Where are people clicking off? Are they bouncing off the site and going back to the SERPs? These sorts of things are pretty straightforward. And now we have proof. There's been in recent times an alleged leak from Google about how their algorithm works and the actual programming of it. And it's super cool going through it. And people are kind of getting really upset or getting really excited about it, saying, oh my goodness, honestly, it's nothing new in there. It is exactly what Liz just said that Matt Cutts talked about.
Basically, Google
over a decade ago.
Figuring out how to enforce that.
Yeah, things like clicks are most important, particularly off the SERPs, and apparently that's called nav boost now. Now we've got an official name for it, but cute thing that we've been teaching for years, shock horror, page titles are important. SEO, who would have known? So the foundation, the good news is SEO, the foundations are still exactly the same. There's extra stuff we have to do and learn, but the good news is, to this day, I still have not seen a better business model than online businesses. And you've got to remember too, there's lots of ways you can make money online, not just off standard content sites. You go way beyond that. That's just where you start. There's tons of online businesses where you can still work from home in your Jimmy Jams, family-friendly hours, or you can do it as a side hustle, still keep your full-time job, et cetera, et cetera. You can't do that with bricks and mortar businesses. So if you can get this knowledge over the knowledge hurdle, now is a really, this is a fantastic skill for the future, learning how to buy websites, because there is so much opportunity out there. There are, speaking to all the brokers, like professional website buyers now are starting to pop their heads back up again, because there are people selling off perfectly good websites for great prices, and there's great opportunities. It's a lot easier to do your due diligence now. If the traffic's been smashed, don't buy it if you're a beginner. Easy peasy. You'll see it instantly. If the traffic's even declining quite a bit, don't buy it. It's easy to do your due diligence. Any sites, think about this, flip the model on its head. People are panicking saying, oh, you know, SEO's dead and you shouldn't be involved in content sites. Why don't you flip it on the model? Any sites that are still surviving now and doing really well, they are highly valuable assets. And now's a great time, in our opinion, to be buying sites smart, safely, start out small, rather than building sites. I think it's easier now. It's completely flipped from even just a year ago. We've always recommended you build sites from scratch as well. It's a lot of fun. You learn a lot. It's a super smart way to do it. But I think buying sites now makes actual more sense, because I think it's safer. I think if any site that survived this is a pretty good, solid site. So you still need to do due diligence, all that sort of stuff. But luckily too, these days, the brokers are really good at helping with that and verifying the data and everything. So there's a lot more verified data out there.
It is a much more mature market than when we started. Like you said, we've got brokers now who will go through the stats and verify listings and help you through that process. So as we teach, always start small, like Matt was saying. So if you're looking at websites, now we're starting to recommend websites sort of between the $1,000 and $5,000 level as the first purchase price as your first website, so that you can actually find one that is a genuine website. So that's something we know, we've always said this, but I think a lot of the time people don't hear that word. Super important when you're buying content sites, but when you're buying any website or any business, what we're looking for is a genuine website that, and we don't necessarily need to get a bargain, but it needs to be something where someone has put that passion, that thought, they actually truly desire to help people. Like one of the biggest skills now going forward in terms of not just in this marketplace, but even in your job and in getting jobs of the future, is empathy, is understanding people, is being able to communicate. And so that's something really, really important that you need to understand when you buy a website or look at a website to buy. You need to think from the customer's point of view, just like Google's doing, to say, how can I help the people in this marketplace and give them a really good experience, give them the information that they're looking for quickly and easily, and in a way that's entertaining, or that's good to read, interesting to read, or engaging.
Helpful.
Is giving them extra stuff that means that their decision-making process is made even easier for them, or that they love, they get to know this particular website and want to keep coming back and being part of a community. So that's the other thing that we're now recommending you look out for whenever you look for websites to buy, is that they have some element of, it's a topic, or it's a way of approaching a topic that lends itself to somehow having a community or a list or something,
or a newsletter.
People would want to come back, would want to learn more. So that's where the sites that had been doing very well over the last kind of maybe 5 years, which were the big review sites, where they're focused on a very specific niche product, those ones might struggle a little more, because potentially you go in, you buy the air fryer or whatever, and you pick one and then you're gone. Like, you're not going to necessarily, air fryer maybe actually you might do a recipe. So that's probably not a good example.
No, let's use our classic outdoor patio heaters.
Outdoor patio heaters.
So that used to be a really good niche. Anyone that's been around us for more than a decade, remember we used to teach that many years ago.
Well, we just used it as an example. So.
Yeah, but it's not that great a niche these days, because why would I sign up to a community about outdoor patio heaters? Okay, so it's not a passion niche as such. Whereas learning how to play golf or learning how to play guitar, I'm going to be part of a community. But you've got a great idea.
The other option is, so say you do see an outdoor patio heater, or you have that idea, and even if you were going to build something yourself, instead of doing outdoor patio heaters, just outdoor patio heaters, you might do patiostyle.com kind of thing, where it's talking about, okay, how do you style a patio to be comfortable, to be warm, to be a place where your family wants to go and meet, to be a place where it's fun to bring, like you want to bring guests to. What are the styling tips? There's a whole range of things that you could do around that topic that people would actually potentially engage with. And still, you could be recommending outdoor power patio heaters as part of something, but as a bigger picture.
So I think, Liz, one of the key things here is you need to be a bit more deep thought or creative thought, and what you said, empathy around when you're looking at the kind of sites. And we find, like our clients have fed back to us, it's a really good test. Yeah, Matt, you're right. If I can add a list to it, then that makes it a lot easier as a potential buy. And one of the other big advantages of that, talking about is SEO Dead. With all the changes in SEO particularly in the last 6 months, and with AI and everything, one of the other key things you want to keep in mind is we do need to find ways. I think it is a warning shot too, that we don't always want to be reliant on Google. And now, admittedly, we've done very well out of being reliant on Google with lots of sites, but we have always taught, create a list, get a community.
Diversify a bit.
An email list makes you money, and what you need to do is diversify away your traffic sources from just Google SEO. And you can do that through a list, through paid traffic, especially through social media now. I think that is a very, very valid strategy. We're seeing that work really, really well with content sites, SaaS sites, e-commerce sites, all sorts of things, building up this idea of, again, it relates to, when you think about it, having a community or a list or a newsletter, and social media is brilliant for that.
That's actually part of a broader, I know we're going off topic here a little bit, it's part of a broader trend now as well, that people are lonely. People want to find connection. So I think you think about that when you're buying a website, is there some way to connect people through that particular niche or topic or passion? Those things are valuable, because also that's very hard to create with AI. And again, what we're doing now is we embrace AI. AI is a fantastic thing for this marketplace. It's going to make a lot of things easier, especially for you guys as beginners. You can get entire content article layout plans done for you in seconds. You can get ideas that potentially you never would have had yourself, or just make it so much easier for yourself to organize things. So I think AI is a great thing, but what we need to be thinking of, it's kind of like,
don't use it for SEO. I'll just get the warning.
Not for writing articles, but just an example. So I can't remember what year it was. I remember there used to be a whole lot of websites that just listed stuff. So let's say postcodes. There was whole websites dedicated to listing the postcode of every single town and city across the US or across Australia, whatever. A Google update happened and Google started listing the postcodes for free. And so everybody who had postcode sites threw up their hands and went, oh, that's not fair. But you know, it was coming, because we know that Google, and this is the same thing that's happening here.
Absolutely.
Don't create websites that Google is saying they are about to publish the content of. So don't rely on a website that's publishing data about flight times, or about, data that, or questions, simple questions that can be answered by an AI.
How to boil an egg. Now, by the way, Google said don't do that even 10 years ago, didn't they? But that sort of thing, things that can be answered in a snippet, it's probably not going to be.
It's not a good content site for the future. We just got to evolve and think about community and bringing people together and providing an experience in helping of people.
And remembering too, there are other ways to make money online. We want to reiterate, content sites is just an easy place to start as a beginner, because it's easy for us to teach you how to get results there, right? But you can sell leads, you can set up what we call directory sites, are hugely valuable now. Selling paid
education and courses,
paid newsletters and paid email lists. You can still do a lot of affiliate marketing through email lists. Absolutely rock. We've been doing that for over 15 years now. People don't realize there's a lot sponsorships with bigger corporates, or even small businesses now will sponsor websites. Okay, so if you've got a niche following, again, this idea of community or the following that's following your website, that is very, very attractive to corporate sponsors. okay? And they will sponsor your newsletters. They'll sponsor the website. If you're a travel blogger, that's what we're saying to all our travel. So Chris and Beck, who are influencers, travel influencers, they're coaches with us, and you've seen us interview them. That's what we're coaching them on. Say, guys, set up your website so that corporates can advertise and sponsor on there. And then you can drive it with social media. So there's lots you can do. So it starts out learning simple, still the same stuff we've been teaching, learning how this works. Buy a couple of sites to get in the game so that you've got a couple of sites with traffic. Now it's a lot easier to do due diligence because you can see the real traffic, because any site that's still going well now is going well and it's good. No, or never guarantees, all that sort of stuff. But
always got to check.
But if you do smart due diligence, and then it's just thought about, what can we do here with community-wise? Is this a site that I'm passionate enough to work on, even though you work on it part-time, but can I keep it just ticking along, post a bit of content once a month, that sort of thing. That's where you start out, and then your skills start to ratchet right up from there.
It is exciting. So there you go. There's our answer.
Some ideas on it.
There is huge opportunity still in SEO and in online market in general, online business in general. So I think it's really important. Hopefully the takeaway you get from this is not to listen to the Chicken Littles, and find the examples in the world of people who are doing amazingly, making great money in this marketplace. And by learning these skills, that's the thing, by getting online and understanding how this works, you're at the forefront of the market, and there is plenty of money to be made. So hopefully you've been inspired, guys. Look forward to seeing you next time.